Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the second part of Volunteering with the Disability Foundation. My name is Sheryl Nguyen, and I am the Volunteer Coordinator at the Disability Foundation. I hope everyone is safe. I hope everyone is doing well. In today's meeting, we are going to interview program coordinators and team members to talk about volunteer opportunities within the different societies. To start off, let me introduce to you Eric Mollendijk, who is our National TETRA Coordinator. He used to be the Volunteer Management Coordinator, and he passed on his hat to me. He is a great mentor, and he will talk about opportunities with BCMOS, Disabled Sailing Association, and TETRA Society. But before we do that, let's try to get to know Eric a little bit better. So Eric, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you started at the Disability Foundation?
Well, some people may know this already, but I've been around a while, so apologies for those who've heard enough of my voice and seen enough of my face. But I started out as being people's assistant. So the first society that I was hired to work for was TETRA, and it was to assist the coordinator for BC at the time, Pat Tweedy. So that's how I started out, and then I got helping with the other societies, had the privilege of interacting with volunteers, as you talked about, Sheryl, and time just has kind of flown by.
Oh, that's great. So now let's go to the nitty-gritty of this meeting. Can you tell us about the programs of BCMOS, DSA, and TETRA Society, and what are the volunteer opportunities existing right now in each society?
Sure. So again, what I want to reiterate is we are going to have a program coordinator. If you participated with us last year, it's going to be Avi, the same coordinator as last summer, but he's not starting till late April. And David Fong, our dear director of operations, doesn't like to be filmed or do public speaking. So this is why I'm kind of sharing some knowledge. And of course, I've gotten the privilege of participating as a client myself. So I'm going to pick a PowerPoint here, just so you don't have to just see me. So we're going to go full screen. And we're just going to go in alphabetical order. So BCMOS, this may be new to some of you. This may be familiar. So again, we're going to knock on wood that with the numbers going in the right direction. Last year, we started in July. We're going to have the same COVID protocols, but this year we are hoping to have more of a full summer in May. So we have the trail rider here. It's kind of neat synergy that somebody involved with TETRA talks about the trail rider, because the trail rider was actually created originally by TETRA volunteers. And you can see how it's advanced. This is what it looks like if somebody's not sitting in it, but it is adjustable. You can see it's got the kickstand on the bottom. And of course, it's got the wheel, because if you're on a hike and you run into something, can't go around it, then we have volunteers to go over it. So we're going to say thumbs up that, depending on, again, so everybody's safe, we're going to offer hikes. It might be one-on-one hikes with volunteers and staff, like we did last year. So look for hikes around Pacific Spirit Park, and then weekend hikes down to Spanish Banks, which of course is near Jericho as well. So you can see the trail rider can also adjust to comfortably fit youth, adults, different sizes. And then, permitting, hopefully we get to do a group hike like this. And as you can see in the picture, we have staff, but volunteers are really important. Actually, in this picture, when this hike happened, we only had one staff member, and he was the fellow standing behind the girl in the pink shirt. So everybody else in this picture is actually volunteers. So that's how we're able to take more people out. And if you're thinking of being in the trail rider, you can see we won't start the hike till you're comfortable. There's different supportive straps, but of course in BCMOS, you can be a hiking volunteer. You can help promote us, help with the outreach. So that's kind of hiking. And then if you want to get out and help others enjoy activities out on the water, we have our adapted kayak. You can see the orange pontoons every program we have is fun and safety first, right? So when you're in the kayak, we don't want you to tip over. The first seat in the kayak has been expanded, so that makes it easier for the person with the mobility challenge to get in. If you have experience kayaking yourself, then you can certainly kayak along with the person sitting behind them or beside. And then of course we have paddle boarding. So we try to make things as social as possible. So even if you're paddling alongside someone, it's always fun if you do it with a volunteer or a friend. And then, as you might imagine, on the paddle board, we have the pontoons. We want you to be floating upright. So BCMOS provides the wheelchairs, right? For those who use power chairs, that would throw off the weight limit of the board, which is 340 pounds. But if you're interested in paddleboarding, have the experience, you can see you can help and paddle beside the person. But a lot of it as well as words of encouragement and paddling together. And this is at False Creek, so the water's not too rough, and you can kind of see the bottom of Science World in the background. I was just along there yesterday, and of course it's a beautiful place to hang out, especially when you're out on the water doing activities. So those are kind of opportunities with BCMOS. I should mention, of course, as the season goes along, Sheryl will be updating you on other activities that are happening. There's some discussions, again, COVID permitting, of some new programs that we might want to try, like fishing outings, nature guide-led hikes. So stay tuned for information on that. So this is really just a snapshot of BCMOS. And again, you will get to know, you will get help from staff. This year for hiking, I should mention as well, you'll see a familiar face, Simon, who worked with us last year in hiking. So he's going to be there. He's bringing a year of experience. And you're also going to see some familiar faces at paddling, as some of the paddling staff is coming back. So if you had a great time last year, you can meet some new people and reconnect. And of course, you as volunteers help us do what we do. So that's kind of BCMOS. Should I move into sailing, Sheryl, for DSA?
Yes,
so,
please.
Again, sail out at Jericho Beach, one of my favorite places. I always do like to mention this. If you're not quite sure or ready of how you can help out with sailing, again, we have different events. You can always help out promoting. We're going to talk about that a little later, I think, in today's session. You can always help out welcoming people on land. You know, nothing beats enthusiasm and the will to take part. So whatever skill you have, you can definitely volunteer in that. So again, this is what happens before you head in the water. We make sure people are comfortable, because also maybe you're volunteering. So it could be you're volunteering to help people go out on a sail. We would supply all the safety equipment. You get a radio, same with paddling. You get a life jacket, and you're usually out on the water if you're volunteering for an hour. And I just want to show this here. We really try to be as inclusive as possible. One of the special things of DSA, and our clients talk about this when they're in kayaks or in sailboats, is when you're doing activities, nobody sees the disability. And so if you're wondering how this is possible, the boats are made with a 300-pound weight on the bottom. So it's safe, it's not going to tip. It is meant for, the individual with the mobility challenge is obviously sitting in the seat. The volunteer is just behind. And this individual here, Terry, is using what's called sip and puff. So you may be familiar with that if you're using a wheelchair. Terry would say it's very intuitive. Same thing with sailing. You sip, so you breathe in. So imagine you're having a milkshake, right? And if you were to sip on the straw, so you sip in, what happens? We bring the sails in, and then you puff. When you let go of your breath, you puff to let the sails out. And I've seen Terry compete with people who aren't disabled, and he ends up winning the race because he knows how to work the boat and sail on the wind. So definitely, whether you're volunteering or participating, sailing out there independently definitely does help people reimagine what's possible, which is what our programs are all about. We have 8 boats in total. You can also learn with DSA, develop your skills as a volunteer, as a client. Here are our 8 boats. On the sails, you see an M because it is the Martin 16 model. So now I will move into my current role. And as Sheryl was kind enough to say, I'm the national coordinator. Tetra is our one national program. So we are happy to show Tetra on the map here. And if you're ever in doubt, just Google Tetra, contact myself. I have a number of great staff members, regional coordinators, and coordinators that can help you throughout Canada and even down into the States. So what does Tetra really mean, or how do we do what we do? Well, we have technically skilled volunteers, and we also have outreach volunteers. I'm going to talk about the technically skilled volunteers for a moment, because what happens with Tetra is every request that we receive is designed by the client. They tell us what their needs are. And every individual is different. And certainly every need is different when we're dealing with customized devices. So a volunteer will meet with someone. So again, if you are a problem solver, if you're a carpenter, if you're a sewer, or if you're good on social media, and if you want to get a better understanding of what Tetra does, we are proud to say currently, think of this as an eBay of assistive devices. We have over 800 devices on here now. We also need volunteers to help update this or help get information of completed projects. So there's all kinds of ways you can help. If you have a design background, great. If you have an outreach background, great. If you're great at public speaking, then by all means, I'd be happy to have somebody help me with these types of presentations. And then here's just a couple of ideas. It's for all aspects of daily living. I always like to show this photo because Tetra can't buy the wheelchair and we can't buy the cell phone, but we could design something to help you hold on to your cell phone. I know I spend far too much of my time picking things up off the floor. So the other thing you can notice with our devices is we try to design it to an individual's own environment, right? You want it to blend in what can be used. Here's another aspect. This table actually is adjustable. You can see it there by the turn mechanism. It lowers right down into the fridge. So this member calls this her everything table because she uses it for drinking coffee in the morning, reading, whatever. And it's on wheels so she can push it one-handed. And I just wanted to put up my contact information. I'll stop screen sharing. So that's Tetra as a whole. Feel free to email me, or you can call this number and the messages will get forwarded to me. I don't know where people might be listening from, so I do want to mention we also have a toll-free number. I'll put it in the chat. It's 1-877-688-8762, and that's kind of Tetra, BCMOS, and DSA in a nutshell. But again, stay tuned for more updates on all of those programs, and I'll turn it back over to Sheryl.
Thank you so much, Eric, and thank you for your presentation. That was great. We are going to move to our next program coordinator. I'd like to introduce to you the program coordinator of VAMS, or Vancouver Adapted Music Society, Graham Wyman. So Graham, same with Eric, we would like to know you a little bit better. So can you tell us how you started with VAMS and how long have you been doing it?
Yeah, thanks, Sheryl. So as Sheryl said, my name is Graham Wyman, and I've been with the Vancouver Adaptive Music Society for 7 years. I started part-time for about 12 hours a week through the Neil Squire program. And long story short, as the needs of the program grew, I was brought on full-time in 2018. And so I, just like Eric, will share my screen and just give you a little bit. Oh, do you mind enabling the share screening, Sheryl, please?
Oh, you can go ahead, I believe.
No, it's disabled, it said. Oh,
okay, there you go.
Try it one more time. There we go. Okay, great. So let me just go. Okay, so let me just go. Slideshow. All right. So VAMS was started in 1988 by Sam Sullivan and Dave Symington. And basically when Sam and Dave started the society, they had a need to kind of have this creative expression, and that's why the society came to be. It started off in Pearson's Hospital and then moved to GF Strong in 1993. And so primarily we have a 3-tier program that we run at VAMS, the first being lessons. And just to give everyone a little bit of a background, we currently have pivoted online as we aren't able to run out of our studio, which is located at GF Strong Rehabilitation Hospital. But again, we're still doing online lessons. And some of the lessons that we give are guitar, piano, ukulele, bass, yeah. And each client that we take on, basically we offer very specific lessons. So it depends if you want to learn music theory, if you just want to learn songs, we cater every lesson to our clients' needs. And with our lessons as well, we incorporate a lot of adaptive instruments, which I'll talk about later coming up here. Now, our second tier is recordings, or the recording studio. And essentially we take all different levels of projects, whether someone has a full CD concept in mind, or necessarily if they just want to do a specific song for themselves or their family or friends. We cater to all levels, and we also have music in all different genres. And VAMS is the first fully accessible studio in Canada. All right, so our third tier is performance. VAMS clients have performed all across British Columbia. Obviously, because of COVID-19, that hasn't been the case, but we have started a new virtual concert series. We started that last year in October, and we currently, this week, will be debuting our latest one that features Mark Ash. We are currently also in the process of building a new studio at GF Strong. This will be a new, fully renovated and fully accessible studio. And this will allow clients even more control of their projects, compositions, and to be able to record. Obviously, again, that's not open at this time. So with the help of Tetra, we also create very specific adapted instruments. As you can see here, this one was created by a Tetra volunteer, and this is our guitar table. So essentially, if a client isn't physically able to hold an instrument, this can alleviate that, and essentially you play the guitar like a piano. So I don't know if anyone listening knows Jeff Healey, but that's kind of the inspiration on how he used to play. As I said, yeah, Tetra helps us with all of our modifications. We've even done modifications, for instance, if someone isn't physically able to hold a trumpet, we can build a stand for that, so they'd only really need one hand to play the instrument. Another endeavor that VAMS has is our mobile studio, and this is featured in this picture here. So essentially, the mobile studio brings our programs to the community. It's a fully functioning recording studio. We also bring instruments, and so any program that we would be able to run out of GF Strong in regular times, we're able to do with the mobile studio. Another one of our pivots since COVID has been Reimagine Radio. So on Reimagine Radio, we interview VAMS artists about their musical journey. It's located on SoundCloud, and the address is right there, and you can also find it on our website. And in 2021, Reimagine Radio will be expanding its programming. So just to give a little bit of an insight on what volunteer opportunities there may be, we're always looking for volunteers to teach lessons for our clients online, and we're especially looking for vocalists at this time. Now, you can reach me at gwyman@vams.org. My phone number is underneath there, and I can put it in the chat, or you can also just go to vams.org, and all that information is there as well. Thanks.
That's awesome, Graham. Thank you so much for that detailed presentation. Okay, our next program coordinator, she is actually a DIGA program assistant, is Michelle Wood. She will be talking about DIGA as well as ConnecTra. So Michelle, same question. Can you please let us know a little bit about yourself? When did you join Disability Foundation and what is your role?
Sure. Thanks, Cheryl. Okay. My name's Michelle, and I help the DIGA ConnecTra program coordinator, Shireen Pasco, organize and facilitate programs for DIGA and ConnecTra. I joined the foundation this past November, but prior to this point, I worked in lab research and customer service. Pre-COVID, I was really active in and around the Lower Mainland. I organized recreational activities for seniors, raised money for the Variety Club, and volunteered at local children's festivals. Being that I have a disability myself, I am passionate about spreading awareness and supporting members in my community. Plus, I also love to garden. Okay,
Cool.
Sorry.
Yeah, Michelle, can you tell us about the programs of DIGA and ConnecTra? And I know you are excited about your presentation today. So what are you most excited about with each society?
Okay, well, for DIGA, I'm most excited about the GF Strong Gardening opening up in May. And we also have really interesting workshops coming up. We have bi-weekly workshops every month, but I'm going to share my presentation and talk about it further.
Sounds good.
That is not working. Sorry about this.
You're on mute, Michelle.
My presentation doesn't seem to be working at this moment. So I'm just gonna quickly talk about the programs we have. Our community gardens that are open from May to September, and they're all fully accessible, widened pathways, automatic irrigation, and if need be, we supply custom adaptive tools made by our friends at Tetra. Eric, thank you. And if need be, we also have volunteers to help tend the gardens. And as for our virtual workshop series, Global, we actually launched that in late June last year. And this is an online adaptation of our in-person workshops, because as we know, due to COVID, all in-person workshops unfortunately have been suspended until further notice. So the virtual series is our way to still connect with members and socialize and share our passion for gardening. And we get local master gardeners and our very own volunteers to help run those programs. As for ConnecTra, it is our linking society. So we host seminars and workshops to basically promote other resources, leisure, job, and social opportunities for people with disabilities. And currently we have our newest program, ConnecTogether, where we feature different workshops to deal with health and wellness, adaptive fitness, yoga, and meditation. We also feature talks by other local nonprofits, so they have a chance to show awareness about their programs. What I'm most excited about with ConnecTra is, actually there's a couple different workshops this month in particular I'm excited about. Neil Squire, like Graham mentioned, he first got his start at the Disability Foundation through Neil Squire, and Gilbert Sue, the senior case manager at Neil Squire, is going to be talking about the program. Also, we have someone from the Disability Alliance that is going to talk about the disability tax credit and how to set up an RDSP just in time for tax season, which we all know and love. So anyway, ConnecTra's main goal is to promote different programs and connect people with different activities. So if you happen to know anyone that wants to present anything about their programs, we welcome that. And we also have other volunteer opportunities like note-taking at various community forums and workshops. And we also use volunteers at community gardens. So if you want to know about that, give Sheryl a call.
All right. Thank you so much, Michelle. You did mention that you do need volunteers for your community gardens. So for those who are in the audience who would love to join DIGA, please reach out to me and you can work with Michelle. All right. The next team member that I'm going to introduce she is our communications officer, and she's very good at her role. I'd like to introduce Taylor Wagner. Same question. We'd like to know, when did you join Disability Foundation as the communications officer, and what are you most excited with your role?
Thanks, Sheryl. So as Sheryl mentioned, my name is Taylor Wagner. I started as a communications officer with the Disability Foundation about a year ago, but prior to that, I did some contract work. I was a co-op student for a little while. So overall, I've been with the Disability Foundation for just over 2 years. And what I'm most excited about the role is that I'm not sure if many people are aware, but the Disability Foundation is more of an umbrella for 6 affiliated societies. So the communications team is actually a part of the Disability Foundation. And so in my role, I get to do promotions, social media, graphics, a variety of things for each society. So the role never really is the same every day. There's different things to do, and I like that. So it's great.
Cool. So with your position right now, I know because you're handling all of the societies, you are the key person with a lot of volunteer opportunities. So what volunteer opportunities do you have with communications, and what are the requirements?
Yeah, so our volunteering team for communications has a variety of skills. So currently the positions that we have are more of a profile writer. So this is someone who's great at writing, has a great voice and perspective. Someone with, of course, fantastic grammar skills would be amazing. And this person, what they would do is interview our clients, our donors, our volunteers, and pretty much write a story about them. So An example of this, we actually just recently released a story on a longtime ConnecTra member named AJ Brown. So that is available on our Facebook page and our Instagram page if anyone wants to check that out. And if you want to write something like that, reach out to Sheryl and you could become a profile writing volunteer. Another opportunity we have is social media writing. So with 6 affiliate societies, plus the Disability Foundation, plus a variety of other programs, there's a lot of social media writing that needs to get done. So if you ever want to expand your social media writing skills or just want to start learning how that works, we're always happy to take on more volunteers in that regard. Again, reach out to Sheryl if you're interested, and I'm happy to also teach people how to do this kind of stuff. So you don't necessarily have to have a big range of experiences with promotional things or writing or social media. We're happy to teach, we're happy to help you learn, and really joining the communications team as a volunteer is a fantastic opportunity for learning. In other ways, I mean, because there are so many different things going on at all times, any aspect of writing or graphic design, web design, outreach, if you like to do presentations, any variety of skills, we're happy to find something for you to do. So send Sheryl an email with what you want to do, what kind of skills you have, what you want to learn, and we're happy to figure out where best you fit and how you can help any of our organizations.
Thanks so much, Taylor. That is a very detailed presentation talking about the volunteer opportunities that you have. I'm just curious because there's a lot of volunteers who come and go and they really love joining the communications team. So what's the #1 reason people tell you? What do they like about the communications team?
I have 2. I know you said 1, but I have 2.
Okay, so
first of all, it's really fun. And that's the feedback that I get over and over again. I'm incredibly grateful that my job has so many fun things to do. And as a volunteer, you can do a lot of those things as well. So if you enjoy writing, there's plenty of writing opportunities. If you enjoy being creative or using graphic design, playing around on Canva, that kind of thing, it's fun. We've got lots of things you can do to help out. Yeah, just a whole video editing, photography, all of the creative side of things, we can find a place for you, and it's a lot of fun. And the second reason is you can actually build your resume in a lot of ways. So I'm a graduate of I have a communications degree from SFU. And while I was doing my degree, you learn a lot of theoretical skills, but the practical side of things sometimes is lacking. So if you're a marketing student, a communications student, business student, and you want to get some work experience in a casual, non-judgmental way, we're happy to provide. We're happy to build out your resume, get some writing opportunities, get some web design, things that you can add to your portfolio. And it looks great on a resume and will really push you ahead in your professional work.
Great. I can actually attest to that, Taylor. It's fun working with you. I love working with you. As I always tell Taylor when I reach out to her, please add magic to what I'm presenting or something like that. So yes, if you want to be involved in a fun environment through communications, do work with Taylor. Thank you so much, Taylor.
No problem.
Okay, the last person I'd like to introduce, this person has done a lot for the organization, is Jordan Cripps. He is the Development and Communications Officer. And so welcome, Jordan. And I'd like to ask the same question. Would you like to tell us how you joined Disability Foundation and how you took the role of Development and Communications Officer?
Yeah, so I first started with being involved with the Disability Foundation in 2015 when I was a community connector for ConnecTra on their employment mentorship support project. So I was responsible for recruiting people to participate in that project in Burnaby and New Westminster. Did that through about 2018. And then I saw that they were looking for somebody who could support the communications and the funds development team. And I have a background in writing and communications. And so I felt like that was a really good fit for me. So put in my application, and 2 years later, here I am.
Cool. That's so great. What are the highlights of your job and what excites you the most?
Well, Taylor will say this much better than I will, but basically it's that no 2 days are the same. some days I'll be writing grant applications for one of our programs. Another day I will be writing social media content. Another day I will be participating in things like this. Other days I will be doing administrative work, making sure that we're tracking all of our information and our funders and things like that, information about them. It's really just so many diverse things that we get asked to do that make up my day-to-day work. It's just something that I really enjoy about this position.
Cool. Are there any volunteer opportunities in your department, and what are you looking for?
Yeah, absolutely. Like Taylor, I tend to think that the communications and funds development team work pretty closely together, doing a lot of sort of similar things. We always love to tell stories of impact of our programs, both for program participants, volunteers, people who've donated to our programs, other people who've supported them in different ways. We always wanted to share those stories. With 7 societies, we don't always have the time to track down the stories, do the interviews, and write them up. So we can always use people to help out with creating those profile stories. Other things we can also use help with is particularly in the actual grant application process. That's a lot of the ways that we do our fundraising is through grant applications, and they can be time consuming, and there's lots of opportunities that we want to look into. We don't always have the time to do all the ones that we would like to, so have some people coming in and helping, supporting us with those applications would be wonderful. In addition, and probably just as importantly, is helping to find new opportunities. There's many different ways that you can seek out different funding resources and supporters, and having somebody to come in and help us with seeking out new ways for us to find different ways to support our programs would be wonderful.
There you go. Thank you so much, Jordan. For those out there who are into grant writing or love fundraising, Jordan is going to be your go-to person. He's great at working and training, and you do train people who are new in this industry, right, Jordan?
That's right. Yeah, I forgot to mention sort of the skills we were looking for. It's writing is primarily the key skill. Research is also really helpful. Background academic research is a good place to start. We've also had a number of people come to us looking to get a little bit of volunteer experience during their studies at school. So that's another good way to sort of build your resume. Some of the administrative things, just sort of organizational skills, interpersonal skills for doing interviews and things like that as well.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Jordan.
Yeah, thank you.
Just like to add, because Jordan and Taylor works with Disability Foundation, and like they mentioned, they're the people that we have to go to, and they're the ones who manage all the rest of the 6 societies. There are other opportunities with Disability Foundation that wasn't mentioned, which in a little way, Jordan mentioned, are administrative positions. If you love doing data entry, if you have a background in bookkeeping or accounting, those sort of things, that is one opportunity to join us. So that is actually all the volunteer opportunities existing in all 6 societies, 7 societies. I will now open the floor for question and answer. Are there anybody in the audience that have any questions? I don't see actually a question in the chat room. So I guess if there's no questions, I just want to say, if you want to participate in any of our volunteer opportunities, please feel free to connect with me. My email address is volunteer@disabilityfoundation.org, or you can go to our website, disabilityfoundation.org, and check us out in our volunteer page. For now, I'd like to thank all the program coordinators and our team members who joined us this afternoon. Thank you everyone for joining us, and we do look forward to working with you in the future. Have a great afternoon, everyone.